Marvel Studios released its whatever number project at this point. The Marvels, a sequel to Captain Marvel, the $1 billion movie. And also Ms. Marvel kind of picks up where that show left off. And of course brings in Monica Rambeau from WandaVision. This is really the first kind of, I want to say the first time we've gotten a movie that really uses the shows to set up the movie. Technically, Multiverse of Madness kind of was supposed to do this.
Yeah.
But it really did a terrible job of it.
That's because the writers of that movie didn't even watch it.
I know, right? Like, it's insane. How are they not even going to watch it? This one really does lean on the fact of, hey, you should have seen these people in other things. Now, they do a decent job of like setting up who the characters are in case you've not watched any of that. And Disney Plus does this thing where they release this show. It's called Marvel Legends. And it's essentially just a glorified recap of these characters. If you don't have time to rewatch Captain Marvel and Ms. Marvel and WandaVision, highly recommend just checking those out. There's 3 episodes, maybe like 5 minutes each episode. And like it does a fantastic job of recapping everything, getting you ready for the movie. All that being said, I'm not like the hugest Captain Marvel fan. I think it's a great movie. Like I enjoy Captain Marvel. But I mean, I really, really, really enjoyed this movie.
I did too. I had a lot of heart.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of like where the MCU originated, with just a fun superhero story that wasn't overly concerned with like building a universe or setting up a future threat or paying off an Easter egg from like 1 billion years ago or, you know, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
It honestly kind of reminded me in some ways of Iron Man 1, just the way that it portrays itself, the way that it's just fun.
Yeah.
Like, these characters meet up, they get together, they have a reason to be together. You watch the story unfold and the story ends. It's not that it's self-contained in the sense of like it doesn't matter to the greater universe. It definitely has implications on the greater universe. But like I didn't leave it like, all right, well I can't wait to see where this pays off in 25 years, you know. Quantumania I felt like was a bit too reliant on like, oh, Kang's the big bad, so you're gonna look back at this movie in 5 years and man, you're gonna be like, oh man, I can't believe Kang was there, you know. And like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was really like, hey, we're wrapping up these 3 Guardians movies, so it's just kind of a breath of fresh air to watch this one that is very much like, here's the plot and now we're done. Like it was good. It was really good.
I really enjoyed it. I really liked the fight scenes. Those were pretty cool, especially when they switch places. I really enjoyed seeing all the different plot lines that was going on.
Like how it's jumping back and forth.
I really liked that. Yeah.
They did a good job of balancing everything.
They did.
We never went too long without visiting each story.
Yes.
I think one of the best examples of when it's like too long is Matrix Revolutions.
Yes.
Where like you watch the war for 40 minutes and then you watch Neo for 30 minutes and then you watch Morpheus. That's what it is. Yeah, not Morbius. And then it cuts back to Neo for another 20. This does a really good job. You never really lose track of where you are.
Yeah.
Act 1, you're really dealing with what's going on between the 3 Marvels.
Yeah.
Is so great. It's just really fun. It's kind of chaotic, but in a really fun way. Under a worse director and writer, that could have been a really confusing mess.
Yeah.
I think they were able to really make that work. Not only work, but be fun.
Yeah.
And like it didn't take itself too seriously, but it also wasn't winking at the camera like, hey, you believe this fucking cat? It's like, no, it's just, these are 3 real people.
Yeah.
And what would these 3 real people who are now forced to have to work together, how would that actually go?
Yeah.
And they all lift each other up, which is so fucking refreshing.
Yes.
Like if it had been the same plot, but if it had been Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor, they would have been at each other's fucking throats in the first 12 minutes, you know?
Yes, they would have.
It's nice to see these 3 women kind of support each other and be like, no, we're going to fucking figure this shit out. We're going to do it together because we're fucking awesome. And like, I like that. I thought it was great. One last thing, I guess, before we get into spoilers. I would definitely recommend this movie.
Yes.
I don't understand the hate that it's getting. I really don't understand why it's at the low amount that it's made. I don't get it. I feel like there's been way worse Marvel movies make way more. I just feel like this is going to become like the punching bag for anti-Marvel hate. And like it's super unfair because this movie's really good. Like if you want to make Secret Invasion your punching bag, that's fine. That show sucked and like it deserves that, right? But this is good and it just it sucks that it's not going to get the love that it deserves.
Yeah.
I think it'll end up being one of those movies that most people are like, I actually really like the Marvels. And like the more people talk about it, they'll realize it's not as much of a hated movie as people act like it is. If you can make it to the theaters, theaters, I think it's totally worth watching in theaters. If you have to wait to Disney Plus, that's fine. I will say there are 2 major spoilers that are floating around. I mean, it's only a matter of time before they're just everywhere. If you're really not wanting to be spoiled on some major, really cool things, then try and check this out as soon as possible. It's really cool and definitely worth watching. We are now going to get into the spoilers.
Whoops.
Oh, you're fine.
Goose is a mommy.
So we go into AMC and then we saw this hanging out. And we was like, what is that, fucking Krang? Like, what the hell is this? And like, we didn't want to know. We did know it was for the Marvels.
Yeah.
We didn't want to know what it was. But when you open it, there's
a flirkin.
A tiny flirkin inside.
And this is the first one that hatches.
And this is a popcorn bucket.
The egg's a popcorn bucket. And then it's a cup. Apparently there's 5 different flirkins you can get. You don't know which one you're going to get. And I was like, of course. They give us a blonde bag.
There's a straw on the top, and it's a cup.
Yeah. And it sits right in this egg. It's got its own little feet.
So it's a little goose egg.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Goose has babies and they help save the day.
Yeah. This thing was way too expensive.
Yes, it was.
It's way too expensive. But it was cool. And we did do a blind opening in the theater. I haven't posted that yet. I'll probably do it as a short. It's ridiculous. So, spoilers. Kelsey Grammer, Beast, is back. We did a live reaction in theater. We've got it up. It's a short. I'll try and link it in the show notes and stuff. Not knowing what was going to happen. And holy crap, that was just bizarre.
Yeah, it was.
I was hoping, like, especially the way they lean into, like, the fact that she's going to be in a different dimension, right?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't really have an expectation. I thought maybe Fantastic Four. I really didn't know what we were going to see. Kelsey Grammer Beast was not at the top of the list. And he looked great.
He did.
Like, I really like that they went full CG with him instead of doing, like, the rubber makeup stuff that they did in the original X-Men. And, like, he looks much more like Beast from the animated series.
Yes.
So I guess the theory, this is what I was thinking, and then Eric Voss kind of said the same thing. She's in the post Days of Future Past good ending universe.
Yeah.
So like there's the original X-Men, the Wolverine, all that stuff, and then ultimately gets to Days of Future Past. And then there's the First Class stuff, which also gets to Days of Future Past. And so when they fix the timeline, that is its own separate universe. And so when we see Logan in the X-Mansion at the end of it, and Jean Grey's still alive and all that stuff, that's its own separate universe, and that's going to lead into where we see Monica Rambeau go. The First Class timeline continued on its own trajectory. And I believe that is the path that led to Logan. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. Her mom being binary, had no idea who that was. Had to look it up on Wikipedia. And then I also love getting to see Kate Bishop again.
Yeah,
bringing
that
her
funny.
back in from Hawkeye and Pizza Dog. Like, I thought that was great.
You think you're the only kid superhero? And she's like, I'm 23.
I like that it was very much obviously a reference to Iron Man.
Yeah.
And like, there's no way she really knows any of that was said. But like, that's fun for the fans.
Did you know Ant-Man's got a daughter?
I love the world where it's a musical.
Yeah.
How she's like, I bet your fan fiction brain is going wild right now.
She's like, oh, yes.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so great, man.
Yeah, it was.
The scene, the whole montage of them learning how to use their switch powers.
Yes.
I thought
love
was
that.
fantastic.
That was genius. This is such a girl thing to say.
No,
I
you're a girl.
loved Captain Marvel's dress when she
No, it was great.
transformed on that planet.
To the princess.
Yes. I feel like we needed a little bit more about the Annihilator part.
Yeah.
I know she was just trying to figure out what all went wrong with her memory and stuff.
Yeah.
I just feel like she really tries to convey that she doesn't like being called the Annihilator.
Yeah.
I think I understood, but I could see some people not understanding why she feels the way she does.
Yeah.
She thought she was doing something good, wound up almost messing up the whole planet.
I agree. I feel like we really got to see like the real Carol Danvers in this. I feel like even in Captain Marvel, because she was brainwashed, we didn't really get to see her, you know? This is the first time I really feel like we've explored her character and like seen who Carol Danvers is, you know? Like what is her personality type?
Yeah.
And like seeing that she's someone that's hurt, even though she's like the most powerful being in the universe or whatever. She she gives Miss Marvel a chance to kind of chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, hey, let's start over. She's just so warm
Yeah.
and welcoming. Based off of like Endgame and even Captain Marvel, you don't necessarily get that feeling that she would be friendly, I guess.
Yeah.
In this, I just feel like Brie Larson really figured out the character
Yeah.
and was able to shine that through the movie.
Yes.
It is as great in my mind as like Chris Evans as Captain America.
Yeah.
Like he just totally gets Steve Rogers.
Yes.
And I feel like Brie Larson completely gets Carol Danvers in this.
I agree.
And I mean,
Yes.
Miss Marvel steals the show. Don't get me wrong. Like
Yes, she does.
she's phenomenal.
She's the true star.
Even Photon, like she does a great job in it. I was afraid she would get like just kind of sidelined because
Yeah.
like obviously Captain Marvel's the lead, Miss Marvel is the scene stealer. I was afraid that she would kind of get silent, but no,
Yeah.
she like holds her own, and especially the parts between her and Carol, and it never comes across as like they hate each other.
Yeah.
It's like very much like, hey, I needed you, you know,
Yeah.
and she's like, I'm sorry, I wanted to be
I want to be
better
there.
for you.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't want to be the annihilator. I wanted to fix things because I was afraid to come home because then it's real.
Yeah.
And like that's awesome. You know, like that is such a
Yeah.
it's almost like Spider-Verse level of like character drive, you know?
Therapeutic.
Yeah. It was honestly, it was great. I loved it.